so much. I'm so excited to be here. Right, I'm going to start off with a little bit of participation, if it doesn't make anyone too uncomfortable. Hands up who finds people that share selfies kind of egotistical. One person, come on guys, come on. It's got to be more than you. Okay, what about the people that chase followers online? What about that? Do you think that's a bit weird? A little bit desperate? No? We've got one person who's saying no. I think there's lots of nods in the room that would disagree. And what about those like LinkedIn lunatics? Has anyone seen them? Those people that post absolutely everything, the crying selfie CEO. Anyone feel like they're a little bit cringe? There's got to be a handful of people in here, right? Yeah, okay. Anyone that put their hand up and said that they were embarrassing, in the next 3 years, you are going to be broke. And the reason why that is because 82% of people would rather buy from a business whose founder they followed online. And if you don't run a business, 70% of CEOs say they respect and value a personal brand more than a resume or CV. So although it's embarrassing to promote yourself, it can be cringe to share your milestones online. And I'm not advocating that anyone takes a selfie of themselves crying and shares it on LinkedIn. But if you're too embarrassed to advocate for yourself and promote yourself, in 3 years, no one is going to know that you exist. But personal branding didn't start on social media. Actually, we've all been building personal brands as a society for a very long time. Many, many years ago, if you didn't have a strong personal brand, you'd be shunned from a tribe and get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, which I think we can all agree is probably not a great outcome for your life. But even more well-documented, the pharaohs in 1290 AD used to document their brands by chipping stories into walls. That wasn't their ruler, that wasn't their leadership that they wanted to leave, it was a legacy. And then we think about the gladiators. Anyone seen the film Gladiator? Yeah, I think we all like that film. Well, they used to put emblems on their armor. They'd have specific colors that they wore. They would even change their name to be more memorable so that people would love them more and cheer for them more when they were fighting people in the arena. And the more popular they became, the more favor they won with emperors. And the favor with emperors meant, guess what? More money. And then we move on to the Middle Ages, right? Middle Ages, if you were the upper middle class, you would spend all of your time, energy, and money trying to win favor with the monarchy. Because if you won favor with the rulers, guess what? You'd get a title, you'd get land, you'd get a pension. It'd be nice to be given a pension these days. You would get given so much more opportunity than people who didn't. And in fact, they wrote a book about it. They wrote a book about it in the Middle Ages, and it was titled The Book of the Courtier. And it was the first personal branding manual. It was a book that told you how to act, how to dress, how to introduce yourself to people, how to curtsy, so that you could win favor with people that would be able to give you more opportunity. And then we come to 1997. 1997 is when the term personal branding was first coined. Can you believe it was that long ago? It feels like a very modern concept, but it was invented nearly 20 years ago, 30 years ago. God, it's showing my age. By a guy called Tom Peters. And he wrote a story in Fast Company titled The Brand You. And in The Brand You, he explored the idea that how modern-day CEOs are not tasked with leading companies. They are tasked with being the greatest marketer of them. That was 1997. In 1997, we didn't have Google. We didn't have social media. We didn't have a platform. But today we do. And every single one of you have a platform in your pocket. And it's free. It's free. And if you look back at all the eras that I've listed today, every single one of them was trying to solve the same problem that we're still trying to solve. Every single one of you is trying to solve And that question is, how do I get the right people to know me and get to know what I do? So there are 3 elements of building a personal brand that will help answer that question for you and help you not just be the best at what you do, but the best known. And I like to call these the 3 Ps. Makes things more memorable when you use alliteration. So there's 3 Ps of your personal brand. There's number 1, which is your POV. This is your unique perspective. What is it? What is your view on the world, your lived experiences, and your work that is completely unique to you? And before anyone says, but I'm not an expert yet, everyone's perspective is unique. We might be in exactly the same position. We might both be parents. We might both be marketing managers. We might both be organizers of amazing events like this. But we've all got a unique perspective on that position. The next P is personality. What makes you memorable? What is the thing that people recognize instantly about you? Is it the way that you dress? Is it your long blonde hair, which I've been told by my marketing manager I'm absolutely not allowed to dye because this is now part of my brand? Is it the way that you talk? Is it your radical candor? Is it your warmth? Is it that you love the color pink? Whatever it is about your personality, that is what makes you memorable. And last but not least, and probably the most important part of building a personal brand, is proof. Why should anyone believe you? These 3 things are not just about posting content on social media. They're about how you introduce yourself to people. They're about how they get to know what it is that you're about. It's about how you conduct yourself in job interviews, whether or not you said hello and asked the barista this morning who served you your coffee, whether or not they were having a nice day. Everything that you do in your life is part of your personal brand. And if you don't think about your personal brand strategically, the one that you build might not look like the way you want it to. And when you do these 3 things, when you have a strong point of view, when you allow your personality to shine through, whether it's your clothes or the way that you talk or a certain style of glasses that you wear, you build something that brands spend billions and billions of pounds a year trying to do, which is to get people to know, like, and trust you. Getting to know someone is a relatively easy thing. Every single one of you right now are strangers, or I imagine many of you are strangers. Some of you maybe have come together. But you've met people today that you otherwise wouldn't have met, and now they know you. But that doesn't mean they like you, unfortunately. They need to know more about you to get to like you. They need to know your story. They need to know a little bit about your background. Do you support a certain football team? Do you have children? When some of the speakers were speaking earlier and made commentary about burnout and storytelling and children, there were lots of nods and smiles in the room because you have those things too and they're relatable to you. So you like them a little bit more. And to trust, to promote the work that you're doing and to promote the person that you are, ultimately turns your personal brand into a system that's going to give you every opportunity you ever had. And I know this because I did it. In 2020, I started posting content on social media. And I started to share with everyone what I was doing in my role. I had no aspirations, really, of being an influencer or anything like this. I just wanted to share what I was up to as a marketing manager. And in the time from posting content and sharing my story with the world, getting people to know, like, and trust me, I was able to quit my job in the middle of the pandemic. I was able to start a business that I've now scaled to over 5 million, and I was able to do something that I genuinely love, which is really, really nice. It's nice to not have to get up every day and think, oh my goodness, I have to go to work, and get paid to do something you love. But I would never have been able to do that if I hadn't had built my personal brand. Why this works? Why this works. Very important, very, very important. Because it's all good and well me standing up here telling you, build your personal brand, you can have amazing opportunities. But why this know, like, and trust concept works and why it's so important is 85% of the people that you're trying to speak to Whether they are in this room right now in person, or whether they are in a job interview where you're trying to get hired, or whether you're a business owner. Hands up, business owners in the room. How many of you are running businesses? Okay. 85% of your customers don't care about you. And you'll know that when you look at your cold outreach data, right? Or when you slam the door in the face of the guy that's knocking on your door asking for a charitable donation. 85% of people don't want to hear from you. So most people ignore those people. 12% of your customers are looking to buy, but they're not quite ready yet. So they're looking out in the market, they're making assumptions, they may be getting prices from people, but they're not ready to spend money with you yet. And at any given time, 3%, just 3% of your audience actually wants to buy. Now, the trouble is, if you're running a business, and I'll get on to anyone who's employed in a second, the trouble is, every single one of you assume that all of your market wants to buy right now. And so what you do is you shove ads in their face. When you have conversations with them, you hard pitch. And you are now fishing in a very tiny pond with every single one of your competitors, which is why you get told no all the time. Imagine if you could build know, like, and trust factor in the 85%. Imagine if the majority of the market knew who you were and trusted you enough to spend their money with you before they even spoke to you. And this happened to me. So I had a customer who has been sitting in my LinkedIn network for 3.5 years and got in contact with us earlier this year and signed a near 100 grand value contract with us. I didn't know this man existed. My personal brand had done all of that nurturing for me. And the best part is, guys, for anyone running a business, it's free. And if you're wanting to be employed, you want to get that dream job, you want to be promoted in your business, this works exactly the same way. 85% of the opportunities that you want are not available to you right now because you're either not ready or no one knows you exist. So you end up applying for hundreds of roles and being rejected hundreds of times, and your confidence goes through the floor. When you build a personal brand, both online and offline, you create opportunities for yourself in the future that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So, the bit that I started with, embarrassment. Building a personal brand is absolutely humiliating. And I'll tell you a fun story that will give you context to this. When I first started posting content, this is a real story. I had a couple of friends that started screenshotting at my content that I was trying to build this brand. I wanted these opportunities. I was so desperate for people to get to know me. It was a lonely place where I was when I started doing this. And my friends screenshot my content and shared it in a WhatsApp group to make fun of it. And the only reason that I found out about this was one of them actually felt bad after a couple of weeks and sent me screenshots of the conversations that these ladies had been having because they were so embarrassed about what I was doing. They were embarrassed of the content that I was posting. But the thing about embarrassment is it pays an incredibly high ROI. We spend our entire lives trying to fit in, and yet the people we admire and trust the most are the ones who stand out. And my embarrassment to date has generated me over $4 million in inbound revenue. The content that I posted that my friends thought I was cringe and how embarrassing has generated millions and millions of pounds to me and my businesses, and over 20 million pounds in revenue for the clients that I've worked with to help them do the same. And the best part is one of the girls that made fun of me in the WhatsApp group actually DM'd me last year and asked me to help build her personal brand. So that made me feel very good. So embarrassment, I think we can agree, has paid an incredibly high ROI for me. And embarrassment will pay an incredibly high ROI for you. So whether it's posting content online, whether it's introducing yourself to someone, a stranger, whether it's going and asking that girl out who you've been so embarrassed to speak to for the last 10 months and you've been watching from afar, or maybe it's telling your mother-in-law that actually, no, you're wrong. Whatever that embarrassment thing is that you're holding on to, just know that embarrassment is the price of entry if you want to be successful. Whether it's in personal branding, or whether it's in business, or whether it's in your career. So whatever it is that you are trying to build, whether it's a personal brand, a company brand, whatever it might be, I want you to remember to just fucking post it. Thank you.